Because when we're looking at a screen, like, when you're sitting and you're trying to produce something and then your eyes are getting fried because you've been on the same sound for 4 hours, just being able to turn to the side, turn some knobs, have some kind of like physical to sound reaction.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Love Music More. Just had a great conversation with Abby, the producer. She is really into like guitar pedals and working them into her production workflow, which is really fascinating. Something I think can unlock the world of tens of thousands of dollars of studio gear for like $100 guitar pedal. It's a really great take, and she walks you through the entire way that she does it. For music fans alike, I just think it's a super interesting way of conceptualizing effects and the world of outboard gear, the stuff that's outside of your computer versus the stuff that's inside of your computer. And speaking of inside of your computer, she also works for Safari Pedals, which is a great plugin company that's trying to take some of that, is actively taking a lot of that mojo of the guitar pedal and putting it into your DAW, putting it into your computer. And I'm a big fan of that company. I'm pretty sure I bought the Everything bundle. And it's really fun to talk about the origins of it, how it was a startup, and now how it's kind of taking over a lot of the digital space. So great conversation with Abby. Can't wait for you to hear it. Before we do, I'd like to introduce our title sponsor, DistroKid. DistroKid makes music distribution fun and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists get to keep 100% of royalties and earnings. 1 million plus artists rely on DistroKid to get their music onto Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all of the major streaming services. And we have a 30% off code for you. If you go to distrokid.com/VIP/lovemusicmore, all one word, you get 30% off, support the pod, and support your career. One of the things I love about it is I have a mobile app. I'm able to check my royalties, send splits, edit my lyrics on the go. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. What's good, everybody? This is Scoobert Dubert. Welcome back to Love Music More, and I am joined with Abby, the producer. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
So excited to chat. So I was just listening to your show. You have a podcast as well. How did you get started with that?
Oh my goodness. So if we go back a little bit, I will say I do host the Safari Pedals show, which is a podcast under the umbrella of the plugin company Safari Pedals. I'm the A&R there. So the show, how did the show start? So I'll give a little background story that'll tie in because I think it just makes the whole concept of the show make sense.
Cool.
So Safari Pedals, the plugin company, is based in a really big studio complex called Pluto Studios in Tel Aviv. Just a bunch of different recording studios. And Pluto Studios also has an audio school where I was a student.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Cool.
So when Safari launched, the whole company launched about like 2 years ago, I was a student there. And
wow.
I didn't know what a plugin was, like which way was up. But when Safari launched, they had a launch party and everyone was posting about it on Instagram. And it just looked so fun. If you go and like look up the company, all of the plugin like skins are super colorful and whatnot.
Totally.
And like I was super intrigued. And fast forward to the end of the year, right when I was about to finish, I was doing a lot of thinking about, okay, I really want to kick off a music career and I want to dive right in. Like, how can I make this happen? I was thinking of different industry jobs, and in Tel Aviv in general, because it's such a small scene, there's not too many things. And then it hit me, oh my goodness, I should reach out to Safari. So I DM'd the Safari Instagram page and was like, hey, I'm Abby. I'm like a student here at Pluto. I'm just about to finish. I love what you're doing. If like you have any jobs, I'd love to kind of hop on and see what I can like do for you. And Noam, the founder, immediately hit me back and said basically like, this is amazing. I'm a one-man operation at this point. We have one plugin out.
No way.
Yeah, it was
What was the first plugin?
Gorilla Drive.
Gorilla Drive, okay. Which was like a smash. Like I love Gorilla Drive. Yeah.
But it's like it's like crazy to think of Safari with one plugin.
Right, totally.
But he's like, yeah. And he was like, let's just like have a meeting and I'll see how I can help you. So we met at the studio and we had a great chat. He just gave me advice on like being a freelancer and like that whole kind of aspect of being a producer. And he said, listen, I'm going to do some thinking. And like when I have a job, I'll keep you in mind. And this was in June. So fast forward to like October, November, I get a message one day and he's like, hey, Abby, what's up? Like, you have time to come down to the studio? I have an idea. I have like something for you. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, what is it? Like, I'm really excited. And he's like, okay, so I have this idea for a podcast. I don't know what I want it to be or how I want it to look, but like, come chat. And so I eventually made my way down to his studio. And he said, I really want to do a podcast that Safari will have like some really like kind of valuable content in the audio space, but I don't want it to be like, there's so many podcasts that come from the perspective of people that have like been in the industry for a while. And he said, I want it to just be like Abby's World. That's how he said it. It needs to be Abby's World. He's like, I don't care what you call it, what you do, but it should just be from your perspective. And I was a little spooked as much as I was excited because you just finished audio school.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I like barely, like, I just found out like what a compressor was like 3 weeks ago. And now you want me to just kick off an audio podcast. But that's kind of the history. So we filmed the first episode together and it took a little bit of time, but then it kind of found its groove and it is what it is today. Yeah. That's the background.
That's beautiful. I think there's a lot of stuff in there too for listeners that might be trying to figure out their way in music, because like music products and audio products and software, physical, everything, there's all of these other interesting jobs that can easily connect into like whatever your main thing is and amplify it and network and build that, and just shooting your shot and putting yourself out there and getting in early. Like all of those are, I think, great lessons for people that, maybe aren't in LA or in New York and they're trying to figure out like, how do I make it in my local scene?
Yeah. And I think something that I want to like echo to the viewers that I think could be valuable, and this is something like that I kind of like learned just going through it, is that there are so many jobs in the music industry that can support you and give you the freedom to create the art you want. Like, I think when I went into the job at Safari, one of my fears was, oh, is me having like a job in the industry, but like a job nonetheless, is that going to take away from my creative output? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure people might be having those same fears. Like, I want to be an engineer. Is being an A&R at a company going to like brand me the wrong way? Like, there's so much value in just having something to do that's in your industry. Like you said, networking and having people in the industry know you, that it really just betters your creative output. That's what I found. That also other people that kind of do what I do in a way where they're producers, engineers, but also have different roles in the music industry, whether that's developing plugins or doing content for other plugin companies and whatnot. It really aids you and doesn't hurt you, even though from the outside it might seem that way.
Totally. For sure. Well, time is a weird resource, right? Like, if you have too much of it, sometimes it does the opposite effect. And if you have too little of it, it also hurts. But if you can find that really good balance where you can have somebody that you're working with that's like entrepreneurial and different and driven, you can actually feel like you output more because you're in that environment, you're around people like that, you're being creative in a bunch of different ways, and that can fill up your cup rather than just drain from it, I found.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's been like 100% true on this journey. Like you said, because like we can't create from a place like on empty, and also like the freedom to take on projects that drive you and move you, rather than you're kind of like, oh, I'll just take anything. Like I'll record like a chimpanzee at the zoo if that's what's needed.
Those recordings will never be heard by anyone else. But it's like you need the money, you got to figure it out, and that like that's valuable too. But like you're saying, like in order to really make something of your career that you feel really proud of, you need to give yourself a little bit of space and room. It's really hard to do that if every recording project is just like, where can I get my next audiobook or voiceover, or somebody that just like wants to record their kids. Not that there's anything wrong with any of that. Like that's all valuable work. But if you're really trying to make it as a producer, as an artist, as somebody that's beyond just like the technical, like deep into the creative, you got to find things that you feel passionate about that can push you, that can push music itself.
Yeah. And circling back to the title of the show, it did make me love music more.
Yeah, let's go. That's awesome.
Yeah, let's go. And just to kind of build on what you said, I would also say, like, shoot your shot. Like, there are so many cool companies out there, like plugin companies I didn't even know existed. So if you kind of are like, okay, I want to maybe do some more research into what they spoke about on the podcast and like maybe find a job. And there are so many companies, like, don't be afraid to, it can seem really scary to just like go and DM people and send cold emails and messages, but I really do think it's the way. And if there's anything that I've learned, just like being an A&R at Safari Pedals, that there are so many people not sending the message. There are so many people not sending the email that are so happy when you reach out. So I think that if you just kind of take the leap, like a little bit of courage and just do the thing, that you never know what can happen.
That's really nice. And I think seconding that, if you have the ability to go to like a large collection of musicians, like the NAMM show is like a good example of something like that. Of there are these great resources for people. Like there's a Gen Next program for students or whatever. You can go to the NAMM show. They can subsidize part of the cost. And you can just be there, and there's like 5,000 music brands, and you can like talk to people, and like that's a crazy resource. And it exists in certain things. Like there's pedal showcases that go around the world. All those kind of things. Like it doesn't matter what age you are. You don't even have to just be a college student. But if you're trying to break into music, like try every which way. And all of these collections of people, like they're just there. They're just people. If you're cool and you have some value to offer, like you can make it happen.
Yeah, everyone just wants to hang and like be a friend. Everyone are just people, and that goes for like people doing, like, it can seem like intimidating, like you said. I really think that if anyone has the ability to do at least one NAMM, like I would go all in. But like you said, there are so many like different showcases and things. Like there's so many cool hanging spots. Just come and be a friend, and like you just never know what will happen, for sure.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'm so curious about the pedals that you have behind you, and I also think something that a lot of I don't know, people that listen to music and love music, but they don't know all about how guitar pedals have infiltrated production.
They have infiltrated.
It's so cool. I love it. It's outboard gear. Can you talk about that a little bit? Maybe enlighten some people?
For sure. I love the way that you use the word infiltrated. That was spectacular.
Thanks.
They have, in fact, infiltrated. I actually only became, like, guitar pedals have become, I think, at least 3/4 of my personality at this point. And it's really because of Noam, the Safari's founder. His whole shtick was mixing with pedals.
Yeah.
And in my brain, when I was in audio school, I was like, I want an L82 in my house.
Right. Exactly.
Like, who would have like thought? Guitar pedals, I think, for producers, especially if you're starting out and are not just about to drop thousands of dollars on an 1176, these little things are just like, I don't know, I see them as like boxes of inspiration. If you just invest in a little like reamp box, you can get such interesting sounds out of your sounds and like take things out of like computer brain. Because when we're looking at a screen, like, when you're sitting and you're trying to produce something and then your eyes are getting fried because you've been on the same sound for 4 hours, just being able to turn to the side, turn some knobs, have some kind of like physical to sound reaction. And pedals are so like cool sounding. I feel like they're so underrated. They're definitely a lot of fun to work with. I hope that long-winded thing answered the question a bit.
No, it totally does. Because like you're saying, there's all this outboard gear. It's like $2,000 to $6,000 a unit.
Oh yeah.
And it's not just the unit. You have to like buy the rack and everything to route it in and out, and you have a patch bay. And it's like, oh my God, okay, now, whoops, I have $100,000 of musical equipment. I could have bought a house, but instead I have this.
Instead I have like 2 distressors because I wanted them in stereo.
Yes,
for sure.
Exactly.
And underratedly, by the way, why are the racks so expensive?
Right.
Like you can go way more broke on getting a rack than actually buying the compressors, like you said. It's a slippery slope, but there are so many just like cool budget guitar pedals. And I actually think that like you can say cheaper or less expensive, like they're all just like, you have kind of the ability as a sound artist to get lots of different paints for not a crazy price.
Yeah.
Like I think the most expensive part of the whole reamping operation is the reamp box, which is...
Could you talk about what that is and what it does for people that might not be hip to it?
I actually have it over here.
Hell yeah.
So I use the Franklin RA10 reamp box, and pretty much, basically to keep it very simple, the guitar pedal, like the signal needs to be amplified so you can like hear things and that it doesn't sound too lo-fi. So this allows you to kind of get a healthy signal back into your interface and also get way more high quality audio rather than I tried to like finagle a bunch of different like tricks with like the gain on my interface and all these different like weird like patching things to not have to get a reamp box, but things were sounding lo-fi and a little too crunchy.
Yeah.
So I got this, and what's great is that it's passive. You don't have to plug this in. You can bring it with you anywhere. I love Franklin Audio, and it just allows you to really go crazy. There are so many also cool little pedal companies out there that you can just get in touch with, try out some cool stuff, and get some crazy sounds.
Yeah. That's one of the things I love about pedals is it is very much I started this in my garage kind of business. Obviously, there's huge digital effects pedal companies like a Line 6 or whatever, or Boss or whatever, that these multinational kind of conglomerate type things.
Yeah.
But then you can also just be like, I made this. I soldered together some like weird chips and I thought it would sound cool. Like I've done that with my grandpa and it sounds cool. I made like a crunchy fuzz thing. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Love that pedal. But it sounds nothing like I could get on the computer. There is no possible way that even my coolest like fuzz emulator stuff on the computer just does not react the same way to varying degrees of loudness and gain pumped into this thing.
Yeah. And something that I want to like add on what you said, like you have your own unique thing that no one else has. And if you think about it, for the most part, we're all using the same emulations of the same thing. So it's like we're all using the same one compressor, the same one reverb globally. So like you said, you could really just set yourself apart. And even if something sounds scary and spooky as hell and a little like messed up, there's so much magic in that too.
Well, it's the Jacob Collier thing of like, there are no wrong notes. It's just like placement. It's the same thing like with like timbre, is you can have something really spooky or weird or out there, but if it's in the right moment or the right vibe or whatever, it can still be a pop song. It can still be a happy song. Like transitions, you can do anything you want in a transition if you're going from like a verse to a chorus, like whatever. I've done children like yelling at a playground, a decapitator, and like double lock kind of thing, side chained, and it's just like whatever, you know. It's like, and then you get in the chorus and you're happy. So it's like just a little touch of dissonance in a different way before you get paid off. But yeah, that's the beauty of the pedals. You can add a little like dash of chaos if you want to.
Absolutely, and I love that transitions are lawless territory, guys.
Totally.
It is no man's land out there. So build that fuzz pedal for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. I've got some big news, everybody. My vinyl record is out. We didn't make a ton of these, so these guys are gonna sell out, and I'd love for you to get your hands on one of them because they're so dope. They're so dope. And it comes with a whole bunch of like liner notes and pictures and special stuff, the things that really went into making this record. And I want you to get your hands on it. So go to scoobertdubert.pizza or check out my Instagram for a link or click the link in the show notes or the bio or wherever you're watching this to pick up your copy. They're going to sell out. We really did not make very many of these. And I want you to have it. It's like a collector's item. So thank you. Thank you for supporting my music. And I can't wait for you to hear it actually on physical vinyl. Enjoy the rest of the episode. It's pretty much, so I was going to do a delay pedal, like an analog delay pedal. And that sucker is sat in my garage. It's like a million little solder points. I'm like, I'm not about that.
Was it a hard circuit to like hook up?
It was crazy. I tried, I started, and I'm like, I'll come back to that.
Eventually.
I'll be like 60 years old. I'm like, all right, it's time.
You come in and it looks like a spaceship. That's how I'm imagining it. Kind of like on life support, like all these different.
Yes, exactly. It's like a mini game. Yeah, I'll stick to fuzz. That's like 6 solder points and we're good.
6 we can handle.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but respect to people that solder because I have a distortion pedal on here that I went to a pedal workshop to build. Oh, cool. And whoever has it in them to build a pedal, I just like gained a whole new level of respect because I was there. I'm telling you, like a single drop of sweat I was so determined to get this to work because it was such a small workshop and everyone's was just like breaking. And I was like, I have to be the one where I walk out with a pedal that works. And I was like, tons of respect if you can pull that off at home.
Totally. Such a cool,
sure.
hard small business.
Yes, it is.
So I'm so
Respect.
curious, what did audio school like look like? What did it teach you? What are some of the things that you like walked away being like, I use that all the time, or like I never think about that when I'm actually producing?
That's such a great question. Well, I will say, just in general about the course I took, what was special, the reason I went to study at Pluto Studios, to me, it was very different than all the other audio school options here in that it's the biggest studio in Tel Aviv that's recording the records. So to
Mm,
me, it was a school inside of a studio rather than I go to, let's say, there's a really big music school in Jerusalem called Rimon, which is kind of like the Berkeley of
okay.
here.
Yeah.
And they do have audio production too, but it's like having a studio in a classroom. So that was the first reason I went to Pluto. And I would say the biggest things I walked away with from that course was just like the technical. They trained us so well. Like I was in the production course, so I learned Ableton. They trained us so well in the program that I was able to leave school and not have to think
That's nice.
and break my head on the program. So just having like that basic technical know-how, I was like by no means like an Ableton wizard. By the end, they just really prepared us to start doing, if that makes sense. So I would say that was one of the biggest takeaways. And also, we had a teacher that his kind of classes were a lot more on like the business end of being a producer. And he makes a lot of content about being a freelancer and how he runs his business. So just kind of getting seeds planted in my head of how life will really look. That's something I took
Mm,
with me. Like, I feel that I went into the music industry with kind of realistic expectations and understandings of what this career path will require of me in terms of basic things of like setting up my finances in a way that will like making money work for me as a freelancer,
ooh,
learning a
yeah.
little bit about like taxes and
Yeah.
maybe like the unsexy stuff because I want to talk about music things all day, but
Yeah.
that really helped me propel myself better out of school. And the things that I don't think about at all, I think that a lot of our teachers, like in a great way, showed us a lot of their approaches and how they record things and how they do things.
Hmm.
But one thing that was missing for me was that they would always say, well, this is what I do, but like do your thing. I feel like the one thing that was missing and that I didn't really take away was that like we didn't deep dive too much on learning like how to find our own sound. It was kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, well, this is how I record an artist. Like they would bring someone in, we would record the vocals, and then he would like mix it in class.
Hmm.
And it was like, well, but you just go find your sound. I was like, that's really fluffy and wonderful, but what does that even mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not something that there wasn't any skills that like we learned and I walked away and I was like, I'm not engaging in this. It was more kind of
Mhm.
like I wish that we had done a more deep dive on that because I think like finding your sonic fingerprint and understanding who you are as a artist, producer, engineer is so important in just getting your career started because then if you kind of have a basic understanding of what your sonic fingerprint is, then you can brand yourself better, market yourself better, understand aesthetically what speaks to you from the jump rather than have to go through the journey of kind of more trial and error. So that's my take on it. But it was a good experience overall.
I'm really curious about that last part. I did a podcast, I don't know, a week or two ago with a film composer, and we were talking about, because a lot of what he does is his whole goal is to not hear himself in the end product. He's trying to make
Mm,
the music like authentically this thing. So he tries to abstract himself so he doesn't hear his like go-tos or whatever. And I'm like, I'm literally the opposite. Like
yeah.
I am trying to make something that's like only I could have made that, you know?
Yeah.
Like I very much value the like sonic fingerprint in that way of almost maybe to a fault where it's like kind of hard for me to like follow a brief or something like that. Where do you fall on that? What do you think about that, especially as a producer? Because I'm really curious about that journey that you did after school until kind of now.
Yeah. Well, I will say that like so I'll kind of give my take and then I'll backtrack a bit.
Okay,
I'll
yeah,
say
yeah,
like from the jump that I'm definitely more in your camp
yeah.
of sonic fingerprints and like the only I could have made that
Yeah.
type thing. And that's kind of been like a really big part like of my journey for me, like finding that. And also I think that in the end, that's also why I'm working with the people I'm working with now. Ooh. I think that like all camps are welcome, but I think if you choose a camp and kind of go all in on it, you'll be able to find people that appreciate that and will want to work with you. But I will say that also having the ability to shut that off is important. I think it kind of works together. I think go all in and having your sonic fingerprint, but also have the ability to take yourself out of it, because that's also helped me. Like there have been production gigs recently where I've been brought on not as the executive producer, but to kind of assist the producer in doing vocal production, drum programming. And these are songs that I would have really never come to by myself. Like I tend to be, I would say songs that are a lot more gritty and textured. And this was very kind of bright Latin pop, retro pop, super cool sounding records. But I really had to be like, okay, Abby, we're shutting down fuzz brain. And now it's time to bring out the really clean modern reverbs. Like my Valhalla vintage verb, I don't think has ever been set to modern, but now is the time. So knowing how to make both work, but I definitely am way more in on the camp of if you're like the executive producer and you're working with an artist, obviously I don't want to like overtake what the artist needs and their creative vision, but I definitely do think you having a sonic identity and being sure of yourself and kind of your sound will only help working on other people's music. So that's my take on the matter. Gavel.
I like it. It's a good take. And I totally agree. I think that the best thing to do is both, like if you can. And if you had to pick, I would pick fingerprint more, but I feel like the more you develop your fingerprint, the harder it is to shut it off, you know?
Yeah.
At least for me. Other people might be better at it. I do think a lot about like, why would somebody hire you? You know, is it because you're the best multi-instrumentalist or something like that? Okay, maybe not fingerprint. But if it's like, is it because you're interesting and you're an artist and like you make something different? It's like, okay, well, now people are hiring you because they couldn't hire anyone else, or they tried to hire someone else and they're like, that didn't do it, you know?
It's like, I guess I'll go with them.
Exactly. It's like, come back.
If there's anything that I found to be true, and this is something, this goes back to the Safari Pedal show. When I was just starting to interview people, and this is before I had worked on any songs, had any catalog, all these different producers and engineers who were doing like amazing records were saying to me, like, Abby, it's really about who you are, not what you do. Like you have to be able to push all the buttons and know what the hell you're doing, because this is a job that you need to do and you're serving an artist, but it's really about who you are. And kind of your question on like, why would someone hire you? Only now, like that's a piece of advice I've only really understood in like the past like 3-4 months, that it really is about who you are. Because there are so many people that can put like snares on the 2 and the 4. There are so many people that have a unique sonic fingerprint. So it's not necessarily that I'm just like a unicorn that's fallen out of outer space. But I do think that when people do like come and want to work and hire me, I really do think it's, I don't know if the way I am, it's like, it's a very flowery answer, but I think that, and also kind of like the things that come around just the music, like organization, communication skills, like really basic things like accountability, showing up on time. I think just being open to ideas. I think the reason people hire me, and I think the reason people hire anyone in music, just from also observing other people's production scenarios play out, is just that it's really about like the person and like the soft skills rather than recording a vocal. Because I think we put a lot of weight, maybe sometimes in audio content, like recording, it's like this like big, important, like getting the right vocal sound, getting the right drum sound. Like there's so much pressure on these things. Like it's all good. It's a mic. Like it's not gonna hurt you. The mic's not gonna hurt you. And the mic is not gonna stop you from getting hired. It's being nice or not nice, or answering someone's email in a timely manner. Like if someone sends you a message and you answer like in a timely fashion, that does show something. You don't understand. I did an episode with my dear friend Jeff Ellis in the beginning of like the podcast, and he said, you'll get so far on basic accountability. And I was so new at the time. I was like, okay, I'm going to take that. But it's so true. Dudes, just showing up on time to the studio, not being late, being empathetic if like to someone, if like an artist falls off a little bit and they're communicating well, and then suddenly they're kind of dipping. Yo, dude, like, what's going on with you? Is everything, are you all good? Like, having that extra level, like, that can get you so far. Like, I can go down that rabbit hole of like yelling at clouds for hours on that, but definitely the surrounding skills for sure.
Like, I feel like a lot of people get attracted to music, myself somewhat included, because it is like alternative lifestyle. You get to be more free and creative and all this kind of stuff. But that also makes it so you set yourself apart if people can believe that you're going to be there for them, believe that they'll feel comfortable around you, and they can actually like give you a good vocal take or something like that, because it's scary being in the studio, especially if you're a newer artist and you're in front of somebody and you're having to sing and you're under a microscope and they're soloing you and like dialing in EQ and you're just naked out there in front of them. Yeah. If you can make them feel comfortable, that's so much more important than the vocal tone, because the performance trumps microphone, preamp, any day of the week. It's always better to have both.
Yeah. If you can get the best of both worlds, if you can like Hannah Montana it, like by all means, for sure. And yeah, like what you said, and if like you're not fun to work with and someone comes and records, like I don't think they're going to drop like a Whitney Houston vocal take on that day if they're feeling like trash because XYZ vibe that like, I think that like as producers, and I can't speak for my engineer friends, but maybe they also feel the same. Like, I really think that our job at the end is, I call like, we're ultimate vibe curators. Like that's our job. Nice. Like we're like the grand wizards of aesthetic, like setting the vibe, setting like the sonic world and vibe of the song. Like, and what goes into that is, like you said, creating a comfortable space where people will want to be. Yeah. And then I think that if you're just fun to work with and you can have a vocal take that sounds listenable, people will want to just work with you and want to have you around. I really think that that's, I don't know, I feel like it's not spoken about enough in the audio podcast world. Maybe you feel the same, that it's like underrated. Just be nice.
Yeah. Well, like I love gear, and we like, there's just such a fixation on a lot of the micro, you know? Yeah. And it's good. It's important. But like you said, a lot of us are using the same tools. A lot of us have similar workflows, similar templates, similar programs. What's the difference then? Like, why does some people's stuff sound better than others? Yeah. Like, if it's the same tools.
It is, for sure. I think it's like who you are. And I think that is also just your taste at the end of the day. Like, that's also what people pay for. Your
vision, you know, like, you know where things are going, or know where you want them to go, maybe, is even better. Of like, I hear where music is. The song's not going to come out for 6 months if I'm lucky. Where do I want the music industry and the vibe and the taste and everything to be? Like, rooted in what's going on, rooted in what the artist is, but also like thinking like commercially, like, where would I love for people to be excited about a certain genre tweak or whatever? It's like, I want to make something for then. And a lot of stuff that I make, I try to think like 2 years down the line, because, you know, like, that's people listen to my music, but it's not, it takes them a while. I put out a lot of music, so I think sometimes it takes a lot of people a while, and I'll have people like reach out to me like, oh, I love this song. I'm like, dude, I dropped that like 4 years ago. You just found out about it now. Like, I'm glad that though in this year it held up, or like, at least in some weird way felt like 2025. I don't know.
I love that perspective. Like, I've never thought, that's new for me, like what you just said, to kind of think, I'm gonna like implement that, like to think ahead, like 3-4 years, like what will people be listening to in 2 years? I'm gonna take that. That's awesome.
But it's kind of freeing, because you're like still trying to be commercial, but you're able to like invent a future for music.
That's fascinating. Dude, what an interesting perspective. I love that.
Thanks. I hope it goes somewhere. But yeah, that at least keeps me going. I've been thinking like that for a long time, because it's really hard to trend chase. It's really hard to do what other people do better than you, like the sonic fingerprint thing. And there's a lot of temptation to do it, because there can be money there. Yeah.
But the trends move so fast. It's like by the time you hop on the trend, it's like by the time you get to like the TikTok dance, there's a new one. I'm like being mindful and demure. Like when that meme was popping up, I was like, I felt like my life was overtaken. And then 3 days later, there was a new thing. I was like, but I didn't even get to use the last line. And now there's more. And same with music. It's like there are so many like freaking music trends. And so like you said, like it'll take so much pressure off of you to just do the alternate route rather than try and fight everyone else in the arena for the trend.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry to interrupt this very important broadcast, but it's time for one more advertisement for myself for this podcast. What I'm asking for is for you to rate it 5 stars, share it with your friends. This is like the most important thing for this podcast to grow. So if you want to do this, you go onto the podcast screen, right? You click on the ... on Spotify. Under there, it says rate show, and you go and you click it. 5 stars. If you could do that for me, that's the best way for the algorithms and all this stuff to share it out with the world. I know that it's a lot to ask, but if you could please just hit those 3 dots and then a 5 star, it would really help us out and helps us, get the word out and spread the love of music. So thank you. If you're listening on YouTube, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. And here's the rest of the episode. And it's not saying like, okay, I'm just not going to be commercial. It's like, I still want to be commercial. Like, I like pop music. I want people to sing along to my song. I want people to make TikTok videos of my song. Like, I want that. But, like, it's a lot more freeing to say, oh, maybe they'll discover it in 2 years when they're ready. Or something. I don't know. Opens new
Wakes
doors.
up, suddenly your TikTok is just like, there's a dance.
Yeah, you can dream.
For sure.
I have noticed a few different artists get signed to major record labels, and then suddenly there's TikTok dance. It's like,
Could that have been on purpose? Yeah. But there's so much, and that's something I also learned like from kind of like Safari Pedals on that note. Like, there's so much marketing and things that go into, like you said, like the TikTok dance is suspiciously showing up.
Yeah.
Like so much goes into these things. It's crazy. Like the behind the scenes goes nuts.
Totally.
Of these different
and it's
products.
Pretty unfathomable about how much some people spend on marketing. And like, I don't know, from a musician's perspective, it's really tough because you only make like 0.03 of a penny per stream. And so you're like, okay, if I spend like $10 to get somebody to listen to my song, it's like, oh God, they got to stream that a lot of times.
Yeah.
But if somebody was selling like a $20 product or a plugin, and he spent $10 to get somebody to buy a $20 plugin, it's like, hey, let's do another ad. And so like that's how those marketing budgets can be so crazy high. But it's tough when you're like on the smaller end to be able to make those kind of things work.
For sure. Yeah. Like the whole, like if you think about it, being like an artist and not even a producer, just like an artist, it's there's usually in other businesses ways, kind of like methods to just like quantify and expand your business. But like being an artist, like I can't imagine like the odds are set against you in terms of like how much you're getting paid for streams. And it's like, well, in a plugin company, like you said, or any other business, or even as a producer, like you have a product, you're a service, and then there's kind of like a margin. But like when you don't even have a margin to make back your, it's like a crazy world.
It is a crazy world. So much of, artistry is like just like trying to print enough lotto tickets that one of them might hit / diversify into some things that might have a margin so you can support the other things that don't. But it is it's like a math problem. It's a tricky one. It's crazy that people are able to do it, but I've seen them do it, and so it gives you just enough hope. And also it's not really about that. It's like you have to do it too. Yeah, it is a fascinating thing. It's like a really hard problem to crack, and I don't know if it's solvable. It just is.
It just is. And it's like such a unique position to be in too, because I can't think of any other industry where like even like a painter, like you can still sell a painting for a certain price and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like they put in that many hours to the painting and the painting looks that good. So they can sell it for a high price, but the way that we think about music is so different.
Well, we don't really have like scarcity. We kind of have the opposite. Like there's just millions of songs every single day. And so, yeah, like a painting, it's like this is the painting.
Yeah.
Here it is. There's one.
Yeah.
Do you want it? There's just a supply demand situation. / like painting, like you can paint a house. I can't music a house.
Yeah, true. You cannot music a house. In fact, or maybe you can. And we'll find out after this episode.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I do have some friends that have been getting into building sound panels and studio treatment. I think that's genius of like you're producer, engineer, you're trying to like diversify, do different things. It's like, yeah, what if like studio retrofitting / sound treatment for movie theaters and people's houses and stuff like that. So smart.
Heck yeah. And it goes back to kind of what we spoke about in the beginning. Like, there are so many jobs.
There are so many jobs. Exactly.
And doing sound panels that'll also give you the creative freedom, kind of like we said, to just do whatever the hell you want and bring the best art forth.
They're hanging out with producers and engineers because they're putting studio panels in their house.
Yeah.
So it's like a networking vehicle too. So I like applying the creativity to the business stuff. That's some of the vibes I'm getting off of you, and I really like that.
Yeah, and that's only something like I did not fall out of the sky like with any business sense. That's literally just been like really thanks to like the guests on the Safari Pedals show, because going into it, like, business to me, just like, what a scary word, dude. I'm like, I would say to my mom, like, so much adulting to like make this all happen. I got to figure this out. But like you said, if you kind of approach it in your own way with a lot of curiosity, it can actually be just as creative. Like the way that I think about like running Abby the producer as a business in terms of being a producer and getting jobs, like I think about it in like with the same amount of like creativity and fun that I go to produce songs. And I think it really can be a lot of fun if you just go off the beaten path a little bit and kind of do your thing. Like the people doing the panels, like maybe building panels doesn't speak to you, but there's something that does, that'll be just as fun for you to sit and kind of crack your head on, okay, how can I make this like side business work? But you're still really passionate and excited about it. Like it doesn't have to feel like a drag at all, I think.
Yeah, and I like those kind of ideas because it's not about the idea, it's about like the mindset. It's about the position. It's same thing with like guitar pedals. It's not even about like, hey, put guitar pedals into your mixing workflow. It's like, think outside of that box that everyone else is in, or think modular, or think like, what do you need to mix it up for your process to get more fun? It's not that you have to just like take notes and copy, because that's what I remember when I was super early on. It was like you go on Gear Sluts or something like that, and you'd like be like, "Oh, they use like this compressor. Oh, and then they like routed it
patched like this, and this preamp is cranked exactly at 12 o'clock, and that's it. It's the record's done, guys.
Done.
Okay, I'm gonna go home.
Code correct.
That's it. That's been kind of like the most earth-shattering like realization is that like none of this has to feel like, it doesn't have to be so heavy. Like it can be really challenging and hard. But heavy, it really doesn't have to be. And I think that if it's feeling heavy, that's just information for you as a person that maybe there's some things that need to be tweaked, and maybe you need some like fun or or a guitar pedal, or like it can be such like simple things. But like if you feel like kind of like a drag in your workflow and one guitar pedal makes you smile, it can just like, I don't know, it's all information.
Do you run drums into guitar pedals?
I do. Oh, it's like the other, I said pedals were like 3/4 of my personality. That was the last quarter. Like drums and pedals for sure.
such a cool, crazy sound. Snare drums into guitar pedals.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a favorite like pedal to run snares through in terms of like, are you a fuzz on snare, a reverb on snare?
Yeah, so there's a thing that I've really enjoyed doing, which is running into a fuzz pedal a tube screamer before it. So I just completely overload the fuzz pedal in like a really weird way. So it's kind of like got that like warm tube screamery overdrive thing pushed into just like a gnarly fuzz. And then I usually blend it afterwards. Try and do my best to like cut out some of the phase cancellation and stuff. But that's for some rocky kind of stuff. Like I worked with this Japanese band called Bed, this Tokyo band. And I did some of that kind of in there because it's fun, you know? Why not?
That sounds wild. I have to try that out.
It's weird. It's cool.
I haven't thought of
it.
Yeah.
Just overdriving a fuzz, like because a lot of times fuzzes are in the beginning of the chain, and it's just like make it even grosser.
That's crazy. I'm gonna do some crazy
Let's go.
Frankensteining after this. Let's go.
I have such a hard time keeping my pedal board like intact because I'm like, oh, what if I? Then I get to the end of the day, I'm like, what have I done?
And then before you know it, like the Velcro, like Velcro gets sad.
The Velcro gets sad.
The Velcro does get sad, in fact.
Yeah, it's so strong at first. It's all just never move me.
Yeah, dude, there's nothing like a fresh pedal board,
I know,
fully intact, and you put that down and you're like, let's go. And like you said, that one idea hits you. It's like, I can't pass the price we pay for fun ideas.
Yes.
Goddamn.
Yes. Having a crisp pedal board, that's such a status symbol.
Oh yeah. But I think my Velcro, it isn't too sad yet, but
Nice.
maybe after this episode, after I start like fuzzing and overdriving my snares, maybe I'll keep you updated.
Awesome. So I have this one question that I always like to ask every guest. And I was wondering if you'd be down. So the show is called Love Music More, and the segment's called Love Music Why. Question's really simple, but take it wherever you want to go. Abby, why do you love music?
Such a good question. I thought about it because I had tuned in to a few episodes before, and I actually like spoke about it with my mom. I was like, Ma, like, why do I even love music? Like, I had a conversation with her earlier this morning, and I think my best answer, and it might sound like so like overly unicorn fluff and cliche, but I really like, it's just the way that I see the world. Like, it's just the lens from which I view everything. So I can't imagine like life without music. Like, it just adds so much, like, it's brought so much goodness into my life, and it just is the way that I see things, the way that I feel things. And I think that's why I love it so much. It's like this all-encompassing thing that I can't explain. And that sounds so like woo-woo. Goddamn. And I'm usually not like overly fluffy like that, but that is my very fluffy answer.
I love it. And I mean, of all things to be able to be a little fluffy about, it's like you've dedicated so much of your life to it.
True. We can be fluffy about music.
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah. And while not making fluffy music.
True. Absolutely.
Yeah. I am really excited to make some more distortion heavy music versus the bright Latin music.
Yeah.
I liked the perspective of like crunchy. I think that's what you said.
Crunchy.
Crunchy music.
I am a fan of crunchy music, but like you said, all about like kind of also like you like on the note of like fluffy music, like it's all about embracing what is, trying things out, and that music it's a really big like gift to the world, like wherever you believe it came from. So I think just like enjoying going all in, super important for sure.
So where can people get in touch, listen to Safari Pedals podcast, and listen to your music too?
Oh my goodness. So in terms of Safari Pedals, you can find like all of the podcast fun things linked on the Safari Instagram page, or just look up Safari Pedals on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram at Abby the Producer, and also like my website's linked in my bio if you ever want to hear anything that I've ever worked on. It's all there. So go wild if you'd like.
Well, thank you so much for joining. Love the conversation.
Thank you so much. This has been really, really fun.
I'm so glad. Until next time.
Yes.